may want to. How is it? Is it different? Is it the same thing in other African countries? Do they also face the same housing challenges?
Yes, we all have the same challenges eventually, but I spoke about East Africa where they pay monthly and they live according to their capacity eventually. In Nigeria, it's worse than Ghana. Their houses are more expensive than Ghanaian houses. The only good thing they have is that they pay rent monthly.
Okay.
And a Nigerian landlord is a no-nonsense person. You can't keep his money for 6 months. So,
but Ghana will do.
Ghana, we are very lenient.
Right.
Ghana, the law is in a way that you can't sack somebody from a house.
Oh, okay.
So the law is already in favor of the tenant. That's the challenge people don't understand. So the tenant is the most comfortable person in the Ghanaian law. Yes. So you can't fight anymore for him. Then the landlords will not rent.
Okay.
You understand? You can't sack somebody from the house. You always give him another 2 months to leave, another 2 months to raise the money and the like. So that's the crisis. Now, when you look at a place like Togo, Togo is a very interesting place to live in the world. They have a military rule. So the average Togolese, no matter how rich he is, he's very humble. He doesn't spend too much. He just lives like a very economically fair life.
Right.
So they live in very simple housing units. Their rent is not too expensive. Their currency is not too expensive. But it's also, housing is a picture of the macroeconomy again, as I would say. Their economy is also very small. Their economy is like a quarter of Ghana's economy. So maybe that's how it's like that. So they don't have like a big housing crisis, or they don't scream about it like we do. Okay. When you look at the Nigerian economy, the economy is also 5 times bigger than us. So you think their crisis is bigger.
It's bigger.
So in the end, it boils back to the economic size. So in Togo, they don't have a housing crisis. As much as they don't have houses, they are comfortable with what they rent. You see the housing units, very old houses with very old fixtures, and they don't seem to complain.
Okay.
You understand? And that's our number one neighbor. So I realized that it's a thing about mindset as well. The expectations in Ghana are ridiculous. Another thing I've seen in Ghana is that you give a house for rent, 2,000 Ghana cedis. The person wants a bathtub. The person wants air conditioning. The person wants a house to be in a cantonment and all those things. Then the budget, you listen to the budget and I'm like, I sure can't help you. Like, thank God I don't have. And even if I have, I just tell them I don't, because it's going to create more problem for me to find me a house than not earn.
Okay.
You understand? So in Ghana, you have an expectation crisis. And I've seen videos. People are like, our houses are too expensive. It doesn't even have a jacuzzi. It doesn't even have a security cameras and all those things. And all those things are cost. Okay. And once those things are put in, they ask for a house with swimming pool. And you know the cost of maintaining a swimming pool is 1,000 cedis a month. Yeah. So you can't rent a house with swimming pool for less than 1,000 cedis in anywhere in the world.
Right.
But people don't understand. They want a house with swimming pool for 500 cedis. You get it. So there is another expectation issue that we need to really look at. If you ask for it, you have to pay for it. Once there are ACs in the house, it's going to cost an extra 1,000 Ghana cedis. Once there's a security man, he needs a salary. He needs all those things. It costs you another 1,000 cedis. Sometimes cleaning, lawn maintenance. Some people don't want to clean their common areas. If you walk around, you see the gutters in front of people's house. They don't want to clean it. They want the municipal assembly to come and clean it. But they don't want to pay what's the name of property rate. So you're not paying property rate. And you're complaining that the assemblies are not cleaning your gutters. You get it. So we have an expectation crisis. Once we are not paying for those things, they live with us. Then we fall sick. Then we spend the balance in the hospitals, and then the crisis continues.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Because of time, we have to be moving a bit faster so that we can cover a lot of things. Yes. Now, one of the major challenges is mortgage.
Yes.
And also financing.
Yes.
Now, how affordable are mortgage options in Ghana?
They are not affordable. Mortgage is the biggest crisis in Ghana currently. Finance. That's why I keep on telling you that it's a macroeconomic issue. The unfortunate issue is that it cannot be solved by the banks. It cannot be solved, by the government.
You said it can be solved by government earlier.
Yes, it cannot be solved by the banks.
You're not saying it can be
either.
solved by the banks. Okay, let me rule that also out.
Yes.
Now continue.
So let me tell you who can solve it. Jesus Christ. So it can only be solved by the people. So what
by which people?
The Ghanaian citizens.
The Ghanaian citizens.
Yes.
Okay.
So this became an economic issue while I was trying to sell house. So I tried to sell 2-bedroom houses for $30,000, $35,000. That's when I really had to go back and read about economics and finance. So if you followed me, you realize that initially I was talking about house. Now I've started talking about economics and finance because I realized that's an economic issue. Okay. You remember I told you that the mortgage is 30% and the inflation is 30%. That makes the money 60% expensive. Okay. So how can we reduce the inflation to 10%? And the mortgage to 10%. The mortgage is +5 of Bank of Ghana banking rate. So the Bank of Ghana banking rate is 25. What affects the Bank of Ghana daily rate, business rate and the like? It's a function of exchange rate inflation. Exchange rate inflation is different from commodity price inflation. Though it is usually, commodity price is usually affected by exchange rate. So you are Ghanaian, you're sitting in front of me. I hope I can sample you.
Go ahead.
Your suit is not made in Ghana. So for every suit that you buy, the cedi loses value. This headphone is not made in Ghana. So for every headphone that we buy, the cedi loses value. What did you eat for breakfast? Rice or oats? For every rice or oats that you eat, the cedi loses value. So the cedi is losing value. It used to lose value at 10 to 15%. Before we had the economic crisis, it lost value at 30%. So once that is happening, mortgages cannot be less than 30%. So we blame the mortgage bank. But the problem is that we are eating too much rice. We buy an iPhone every year. We change our cars every year. You can afford it, but the economy cannot afford it. So it boils back, it turns around. And Nigerian politicians once said it. Though you can buy a G-Wagon every year, it doesn't mean that the Nigerian economy can give you a G-Wagon every year. Because for every G-Wagon that you buy, the Nigerian economy loses a little bit of forex.
Okay.
You get it? Yeah. Instead of buying Kantaka, who is as guilty as we are, it's assembled in Ghana, but all the parts are imported.
Let's not go there.
You understand? Yeah. So that's the challenge we have. If we cannot help the exchange rate to get better by supporting Ghanaian economies, all the big companies in Ghana, their general managers are Filipinos, Chinese. They are imported. That one is also not, it's not an employer's problem. It's a Ghanaian problem. When you make a Ghanaian the general manager, the company collapses tomorrow. So they'll go and bring the Filipinos. So when you bring a Filipino, you pay him $2,000 a month. At the end of the year, he takes the money back to his hometown.
Yeah.
You understand? So the economy is too import dependent that our exchange rate is always losing value and our indigenous commodities are always under high inflation to cope. So you see Kube, it used to be 2 cedis. The next minute, 3 cedis. First now it's 5 cedis.
7 cedis.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I've stopped taking the 7 cedis one. I just take it to my hometown. It's 5 cedis.
In Accra, 7 cedis.
You understand? Yeah. So there is heavy inflation. So mortgage will always be expensive. And then we hit at the mortgage bank. They cannot help us. Unless we as a citizenry begin to lean more towards made in Ghana goods. When Ghanaians become rich, they want to buy everything for it.
Right.
The moment we do that, the economy will never strive. Look at Malaysia. If you study the history, when they started the revolution, they started eat Malaysian food. They started trying to promote local economy. You understand? The next thing we can do is probably things like tourism, where we begin to attract people to this country. It's because I'm in a radio, that's why I'm saying this. If you give a Ghanaian the opportunity to speak about his country to an American, you will see what they will say. By the time you are done, you are sure they want to get a visa by the end of the conversation. So they say everything bad about their country so that they can leave. So all our good resources are leaving. And they are not even able to remit monies that they have made back. If you've tried remittance, you see that one is also very, very difficult. Remittance is actually one of the key holders of this economy. I don't know why the politicians never talk about it. Remittance does more good to the Ghanaian economy than cocoa export.
Are you sure?
I'm telling you, go and check.
What are the stats? Check away.